today I want to talk to you about your film Threnody and your film Spare Parts. Both those films were in the Indie Festival last year. Threnody was in the winners of Best Cinematography, and Spare Parts was in the winners of Best Short Film last year. So pretty exciting, especially since this year you are joining as a member of our judges panel. And so we're going to talk about your winning films from last year and maybe some advice that you could give to filmmakers who want to join this year in the festival. Could you make us a quick recap of those both those films, what they talk about?
Sure, yeah. So Threnody is a film we made in 2018 for a very, very small amount of money. Less than £500. And it's a bit of, no, there's a couple of ways you can read it, but it's a bit of a priest, a sort of dying elderly priest, and it's about his faith and how he feels about that as he faces the end of his life. It takes in elements of horror. I think there is elements of horror in there. I wouldn't say it's a horror film per se. And yeah, we shot it in black and white. It's very influenced by Ingmar Bergman. The style of the film is very influenced by Ingmar Bergman. And it did quite well and played a few festivals, including Indie Clips. Spare Parts is a short drama film which tells the story of Jerry, a mechanic whose world is kind of thrown off kilter when he meets Joanna, played by Shauna MacDonald, a widow who, as the film progresses, we find their pasts are tied, basically. And it's revealed to both of them at different points. He realises at a different point to her, and drama ensues. And it did quite well. It was budgeted far higher than Threnody. And it did quite well. We won best drama and best script at the Royal Television Society Awards, the Scottish Royal Television Society Awards. So that's the film.
Yeah, I really loved Spare Parts. This is one of my favorites. I just thought it was really interesting, those two characters and how they end up meeting each other even. I thought that was really well written. I really enjoyed the song. I wanted to know, because you talked a little bit about the budget for Threnody that was apparently very low budget.
Very small.
I wanted to ask you, what was your situation when you were making those films? Because those films are from something like 2017, maybe before that?
We shot Threnody in February 2018.
Okay, 2018.
February 2018, and it was a university film. It was part of my degree, and we were given a budget of £150.
Oh wow! Okay.
You'd be as well giving us nothing. So we were given the £150, and so that there was a sort of parity of experience. The idea was that, well, look, you can't put your own money in to up the budgets. But of course, there's no such thing as parity of experience, because we've been shot in Glasgow, and I've lived in Glasgow my whole life, so I could pull in a lot of favours. So I think when you take in, so certainly the props and things I paid for, and they were in kind, but I paid for them. And I got a lot of funny looks in charity shops, buying a lot of fairly old school religious iconography. I think people thought I was a serial killer, and the rest of it was kind of in kind. I had a friend who catered for it. I had some family that did sort of unit driving and things, and we got the location as a great favour as well. So actually, the entire indoor locations, although it's meant to be two different houses, it was all shot in one place.
those little filmmaking techniques, low budget techniques. Great, great.
The audience will never know.
It works, and and for Spare Parts, were you still a student filmmaker? No, that was later, right?
No, that was my final year film.
Oh, right, all right. Yeah. So both as a student filmmaker, I think that's very interesting. Very interesting that you made those as a student.
Well, to be fair, I've been making films since 2008.
Yeah, something early.
So I think this is something I would recommend to anyone who's wanting to sort of kind of go and study film. It's a short period that you get, and it goes by really, really quickly. And there are very few people who are born good at it. And I say that for anything. I mean, you get Bob Dylan, but or I don't know, like Leonard Cohen. There's David Lynch. There's certain people that are just like inherently brilliant. Most of us have to make a lot of bad stuff first.
I was wondering. Let me see. Yes. So this year, as you are going to be a judge for our best short film category at the Indie Clips Short Film Festival, do you think you have an advice to give to those student filmmakers who want to make their short film reach festivals?
Yes. So I think the one thing, so I now teach filmmaking, not at a university or college level. I work with young people.
Yes.
We make films. And the thing I always say to folk is watch as many short films as you can. Right? Because it's a completely different medium to feature films or long form television. And because we all watch, even people who've not made films, even people who are just starting out, everyone's seen tens of thousands of hours of scripted entertainment that's longer form. The short forms are completely different thing. So I would consume as much as possible. I think Indie Clips is great because my films are on it. But I think Short of the Week is really good. Vimeo staff picks. There's a whole bunch of. So when I started making short films in 2008, I was at college. It was very hard to find short films. It was really very hard. Nowadays, they're everywhere. You can see a lot of stuff and a lot of good stuff, and see what works. Spare Parts and Threnody are not so much Threnody, but Spare Parts is maybe a bad example of the sort of thing you should be doing actually, because it's a story that's kind of told over a few weeks, and it's maybe. I shouldn't criticise my own films, but I think it's perhaps too big a thing for the short form. I think it's the sort of story that would actually work better as a longer piece, whether that's a 30-minute TV drama or whatever. I think the best short films are about one thing. They're about one incident and one thing, and they're the ones that really work. Anything else tends to be a longer thing crammed down. So I think that's a really good bit of advice. Play to your strengths. I mean, we shot Threnody in black and white. So I mentioned Ingmar Bergman there in relation to Threnody, right? Here's the order of the decision, right? We had the story, and then we had the budget. And because of the budget and because of the story, I thought, well, the only way we can do this and make it look right is if we shoot it in black and white.
Interesting.
Just because we had no production values.
Yeah, so the budget influenced your creativity as well, which is always nice when this happens. It's so great. But yeah, I agree with you. Like most of the time, what filmmakers do, the little mistake we do is that we see the big budget feature film, and then we try to fit it into some 15-minute film, which can become something that festivals at least are not looking for. I'm gonna say I think you can still do a lot of things with this short film. These kinds of short films that you made from your passion and your ideas. But it's true that festivals might be looking for something, as you said, one accident, one short film about one story. That's the short films that get the most Selection, and that's true. Because it's such a different format, as you're saying. So that's very interesting. I think that's a great advice to give. Definitely watch those short films and see what works and how it is. Yeah.
And steal, like not the ideas, but the structure.
Mm.
You know, watch the short film and go, okay, so what happens in this short film? You know, because you can apply your kind of traditional 3-act structure to the short form, but it's not necessarily ideal, and you don't necessarily need to hit all those beats. You know, you see your Save the Cats and all these kind of, I call them the magic bean salesmen. You know, read this book and you'll know how to write a screenplay. And all of these books have good stuff in them, but you kind of need to pick and choose out of them. This one, so this is called Writing for Short Film in the Hollywood Style in the European Way, Arch Plot and Mini Plot by Diego Fandos, which is quite good. He's a Spanish filmmaker and a screenwriting instructor in Prague. And it's got some useful stuff in it, but the best one is this one. It's called Crafting Short Screenplays That Connect, and it's by Claudia Hunter-Johnson, who taught screenwriting to Barry Jenkins, who did Moonlight. And it's got some really good things. And what this has as well is it has links to films and the scripts for these short films.
That's very important as well, to read scripts. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, good recommendations. I'll definitely check them out. I was wondering if you could tell us just how you feel about being a judge for us this year at the Indie Clips Short Film Festival.
It's very exciting. I was very pleased to hear from you, to be honest. I was just thought, I've done little bits and bobs of judging things before, and I currently work for a production company, so I'm reading a lot of scripts that are coming in and kind of making notes and things. I'm quite a critical eye. Yeah. But I just like seeing new stuff, you know, yes. And it's great to see Indie Clips grow the way it has, you know, and the festival's what, this summer?
Yes, in June already.
In June, so it's not that long away. When does submissions close?
The submissions are gonna close in beginning of June, like first of June.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, it'll be exciting. Like I say, I love seeing short films. I like going to festivals. I've not been. Well, no, I was at the Glasgow Short Film Festival, or Glasgow Film Festival. A selection of shorts at it last week, actually. But I don't get to go as much as I like, so it's just nice to be able to see some stuff and hopefully see some exciting things.
Yes, festivals are such a nice way to connect and see what's upcoming as well. It's pretty exciting.
And you've got in-person screenings this year?
Yes, we are doing live screenings in London, yes.
Which is very exciting as well. Spare Parts' entire festival run was online.
Yes. It's nice to go out of COVID times and get back to those events that are so good to meet people and just, yeah. Yeah,
well, that's what it's all about as well. I mean, it's the networking events and it's just the excitement of getting to see your work on the big screen. You know, I mean, I've been lucky enough to see a lot of my films in cinemas, and it's a really important part of it, is sitting and watching the film. It's funny that it's almost like the film isn't complete, right? Even though it's finished, right? And you've got this film and it is. But the first time you watch it with an audience is the first time you really see it.
Definitely. Feeling the audience's reaction.
Yeah. It's also like, you know, that way, have you ever sat down with like a partner or a friend with a film and said, look, you have to watch this film. This is one of the best films I've ever seen. And you put it on, and within 10 minutes you can tell they don't like it. Right? And it kind of influences how you see it.
Yeah.
So when with Spare Parts, I mean, we screened that at the Glasgow Film Theatre in July 2019, I think it was June or July 2019. And it was the first time I'd seen it with an audience. And I spent the entire screening like that. Because I was seeing it for the first time. There was no bad reaction in the audience. at all.
Mm-mm.
People, there was people weren't whooping or cheering, but it's not that type of film. But there was no negative reaction. It was just the fact that I was now seeing it with a room full of 200 people who'd never seen it before. So I was kind of getting to see it for the first time.
Yeah.
It's a strange thing, and it's a really important thing for filmmakers, is to see their films with an audience.
I think so too. It's such an emotional moment as well. That's what we do films for. So that's so good when it actually reaches audiences, whether it's online or in person. It's really, really exciting. I agree.
And you don't know, like, once a film's made, even if you hate it, it's not yours to hate. It doesn't matter, because it's for other people. It's that kind of cool irony of what we do, is that you make the sorts of films that you want to see, and yet you can never enjoy them. not properly, like
you've been through too much in the production process. You just
you'll always go, God, I wish I'd got another take on that, or all the edit decisions you've made and the months you've spent looking at it and writing and all of that is always going to be there, unless, and this is, I probably shouldn't recommend this, if you drink heavily and then watch your films, then it's fine.
Definitely, to avoid that kind of stress.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, what are you doing right now, and what are your plans? Like, do you have any projects going on right now?
So obviously, we made Spare Parts in 2019. We did another short film, Thicker Than Water, in late 2019, which did quite well. And we did an advert for a business that did really well. I've just shot a music video. Like, I'm in the middle of. In fact, that's coming out on Friday, and I've not quite finished it yet. So, and today's Wednesday. So I need to do that. But I've written a feature film. Kind of going back to what we were talking about the short film thing. I had this idea for a short that I'd been developing for a while, and then it was Christmas 2020. I took a few days off for Christmas. And in that, taking the time off, I realised what the problem was. And the problem was it was a feature idea, not a short film.
Yes.
So instead of shelving it, I wrote the feature. So got that to a producer, and we're developing that as well.
Oh, so exciting. That's so
let's not set off fireworks just yet.
Is that your first feature script?
Yeah. And it's a very kind of early stage. It's kind of, there's a few drafts yet before we even consider trying to raise money for it or whatever. It's a very, very early stage. And I'm doing another short this year as well. So I'm keeping busy.
Very good.
After a long period of doing nothing, it's all just kind of gone.
Yes.